Hey guys, this is Camfrey15. I am back at it with another video for you guys. And we are back with some more One Piece anime reviews. And man, what a pretty good informational episode on what we get here, as well as I guess you can say how we get the introductions to maybe how Orochi started to take over Wano and have his overrule. And yeah, but let's get to this episode. But first things first, I want to say I want to issue an apology for not being here last week. The reason why, I actually had my lower bottom wisdom teeth pulled, so clearly I wasn't able to talk at all, and I didn't feel strong enough to do a video. That's why I've been saying that the last few videos. Thank God tomorrow is going to be like the last video where I talk about something that happened. But let's get into this episode. This is One Piece anime episode 964. Now, last week, we dealt with the whole Oden trying to gain Whitebeard's trust by holding on to the ship and everything. And then that's when we also see the introduction to Toki and stuff like that. And essentially the Whitebeard pirates see that Oden's not there on the little handle, and we see that Toki nurses Oden back to not back to full health, but nurses him back to good health, and is I guess caring to his wounds and everything. And before I continue with my review, I kind of wanted to make kind of a statement, and that's kind of really to, I guess you can say, again, I don't want to start no beef with this guy on YouTube. He's definitely got a much bigger channel than I do, and I wish. And again, it's like a channel where I wish I could have his channel. And again, with all due respects, to him, he puts great content on his channel. But I will honestly have to disagree with the statement he made last week. And I'm talking about, if you didn't see on Twitter, one of the famous YouTube One Piece YouTubers is Grand Line Reviews. I have watched some of his content. Don't watch it much, but when I have time, I do watch it from time to time. And last week, I guess you can say he made a pretty controversial tweet talking about when Toki was first introduced into the anime, and they finally showed her in the anime. He essentially made a tweet saying this: "Meanwhile, the jury is still out. Is this the laziest character design in the entire history of One Piece, or is it a time-traveling twist?" Now, the reason why I kind of have an issue with his statement there, which I even have another tweet, pulled up from what he said. The reason why I say I have an issue with this is because there are much more. If we're going to talk about lazy One Piece designs, I can say One Piece, in terms of what girls look like, have much more lazier designs. Yes, are some of the lady designs where it's like either you're abnormally ugly or you're the same type of, I guess you can say shaped body, hourglass, shaped body, where you look like a freaking, big boobs, nice hips, yada yada yada. We know the whole thing. How Oden likes to draw One Piece chicks. Now, the reason why, I critique his point on, him saying that Toki is the laziest, One Piece character design. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to start any beef with him, but I vehemently disagree. Like, one, there's gotta be a way to identify, like, okay, whose father or whose mother, whose daughter. Two, the designs look abnormally different. If you see, which, funny enough, going into one of the Twitter, discussions he has with this guy named James Crowley, who's just probably some random dude. The person replies with this comment saying, "So it's a lazy character design because the mother looks like the daughter. Look at Robin's mom. It's just Robin with gray hair. It's very common for parents and offspring to look similar." Which, again, This person who replies to his tweet definitely makes a very valid point. If we're talking lazy character designs, look at Lola and Chiffon. They exactly look almost identical. Like, no change at all. Robin and her mom, Olvia. Essentially, Olvia is pre-time skip Robin's design with white hair. Eye color, the same exact thing. But this is the kind of thing where I also, again, disagree with Grand Line Reviews. He says, yes, it's lazy to have one character be a carbon copy of another in every respect, including body, color scheme, and clothing. It was also lazy when Olvia was introduced, but at the very least, she had different hair and different clothing to Robin. Which, again, to his point, makes absolutely no sense because he's contradicting himself and he's making a very hypocritical statement. Because by this way, one, let's just say this. Toki has very much a different color hair to Hiyori. Toki has slightly lighter green hair compared to what I would morally consider Hiyori having I guess you can say, I would say a turquoise, hair, a dark greenish type of hair. But, okay, fine. But the point makes no sense. Now, the clothing reason why he brings up the fact is he goes more in depth. He says this goes beyond similar. Toki and Hiyori are the exact same design, right down to every single individual color shade, which is absolutely completely different. Absolutely completely wrong. So he got another point wrong on that statement too. You can't say these two characters look identical, like 100% identical. They have features that Hiyori has features that are like Toki. Because guess what? That's her mother. When you're a kid of your offspring, typically 9 out of 10 times your kid will look like you in some sort of way or have a resemblance to you in some sort of way. I look similar to my dad. Not like 100% similar, but I have features like my father. And I have some features of my mom as well. That's called genetics, my dude. Again, I'm not trying to start beef with him at all. I'm just trying to say, hey, I disagree with your point respectfully. And honestly, I'm not trying to say going out there for blood saying, oh, he's trash, wrong, and stuff like that. I'm not trying to say. And again, he goes down and talks about, we've seen about 1 billion different women in kimonos in Wano, all unique kimonos. And I think Toki's kimono is completely different, a different shade kimono than Hiyori's. One, it's shorter than Hiyori's, and two, it's a slightly different colored shade of pink compared to Hiyori. Hiyori essentially is the same color scheme, is essentially has the darker color scheme than Toki. Again, to end off the discussion before I continue with the review, again, like I said, for people checking this out and, for people who are Grand Line Review fans and you get upset at this and you send this to him, I'm not really going to care. Again, like I said, I have no personal beef with him. I'm not going to take this as a personal beef. I'm just saying I respectfully disagree with his point from last week saying that Toki is a very lazy character design, which I don't believe. I think she has her own character design to her own perks. And if you're really calling that the most lazy One Piece design in One Piece history, I think he should go back and look at some chapters and some anime episodes to, further point out the point that Toki, I will give him a point saying, okay, maybe you can call the Toki design lazy, but really the laziest character design in all of One Piece, we got literally people like Chiffon and Lola who look identical to each other. I'd rather call that morally lazy than anything. I'd call Olvia, a lazy design, a very lazy design, because again, like I said, Olvia, she's essentially pre-time skip Robin's design with white hair and different clothing than what she would wear, but everything else has the same features. And hell, I think in both the sub version and the English dub version, they're both voice acted by the same exact character who voice acts Robin. I don't know the person's name who voice acts Robin in the sub version, but Stephanie Young voices Robin in the English dub. And from I can recall, when they showed the Robin flashback, she voiced Olvia as well. And I was like, did they just not want to give her a new voice because she sounds exactly like Robin? But again, I don't have no problems with Grand Line Reviews. Again, he had an opinion, and he stated his opinion. His opinion to his belief is he thinks Toki is one of the laziest, if not the laziest design in One Piece. My point of the belief is I don't agree, because offspring tend to look alike, like their parents, and I just don't see why he said that. Again, I'm not calling him this, but again, this is why I do not like the people who critique the anime harshly for some reason when it's just pulling the source from the original material. And again, I don't have beef with him, but I was kind of one of the people who kind of disagreed with his video he made talking about, the first fight with Luffy and Kaido. And, I forgot what he really said in that video, but I'm to go back and check out that video, but he did not like the way they put it in the anime, which I vehemently, again, disagreed with his point. And I think one of the main reasons why he felt like it was way too long, which, personally, if you ask me, it's an anime version. You're gonna have to extend some stuff. And I thought that fight was really fucking cool. But again, I don't have no beef with him. And like I said, I'm not trying to call him a manga elitist, but again, this is why I hate people who just say, oh, the anime is trash. And I'm not trying to say he's saying that, because I've seen some videos where he's actually complimented the anime sometimes and stuff like that. But again, it's to the people who, if they agree with the stance, I'm just saying, come on. You really, I think you're just being a manga elitist. But again, and I'm trying to say that in the nicest way. I personally don't really care. If you like the manga, you like the manga. If you like the anime, you like the anime. I personally believe, why can't people like both? I understand not all anime adaptations of a manga are not the best, but at least some of them are pretty damn well good. Anyways, that's kind of my thing I wanted to get off my chest, talking about that statement that he made. Again, I don't have any beef with him. Nothing. I don't want to start any beef because over some character design. No, that's just my thing. If he were to talk to me, I'd just be like, hey, I just have a point that I just vehemently disagree with your point, and that's just where I stand. I'm not trying to start anything. But yeah. Anyways, after that, the next day happens, and they're talking. Oden and Hiyori are talking and stuff like that. Now, what we do find out is that Toki says she always wanted to go to the land of the Wano, or the Wano country, and she asked Oden if she could take her there. You later find out in this episode, essentially, her parents originated from Wano, so technically you can say she is from Wano herself. She just doesn't really remember. Now, what happens is these guys, essentially some of the same pirate group that tried to capture Toki, shows up, and we see a guy. I guess I totally forgot, but I barely even remember him because he was barely in the arc to begin with. We see this guy named Karma, who is the captain of the Cephala octopus pirates, who tries to show up and attack Toki, and we find out that Karma was actually in Whitebeard's crew, and was actually was a dude who took place in the Battle of Marineford. Which again, I totally forgot because I think they barely glanced at him. So he was one of those fodder characters, but it's again pretty interesting to see that. Now we see Oden trying to get into fight with him, Karma, but he's having some trouble because of his injuries are kind of holding him back. But then Whitebeard shows up and kind of takes care of the deal, and he's like, I respect the fact that you left to go save somebody, especially if it's a woman, so you can join my crew and stuff like that. So, Oden's on his crew now and everything. Now, in the next few scenes, we see that Inuarashi and Nekomamushi actually were on, I guess you can say stowaways on Whitebeard's ship. Whitebeard's like, whatever, they can stay on the ship. It's not like they're doing any harm or anything. So that's very interesting too. So now we know why they're able to contact Marco, because they were part of Whitebeard's crew, so they would obviously have a relationship with Marco. As I was saying, man, I can't talk too much. Anyways, what we see, Oden, he starts to detail some things in his journal, which is pretty cool. He's running by some all the things that he's doing, like, for example, all the things he's trashing ships before they examine it. It's a pretty cool, like, really freaking cool to see that, you know, you get an overview of what he was doing and stuff like that. Anyways, we get a talk about Toki, and Toki gives us some more revelations about her. We find out that Toki is only 26 years old, and Marco does make a mention, oh, that's a pretty good age to get married, which I find funny because almost half the people I know from my high school, even though I barely had any interactions with them, again, I feel like this age, I see a lot of young people getting married, like literally, like during their college years or after college, which I'm like, bro, how are you people getting married already? Which I find funny. Now, she says she was born 800 years ago. And funny enough, before I was making this video, I was actually watching Tekken's 101 manga chapter review on the episode that was taking place. And he made a mention saying that essentially she was born, you know, essentially just, I think from what I remember, just after or just before the Void Century was about to end, which is very interesting. So obviously it shows, we know she has the time fruit where she can go through time and go to the future and everything. Now Toki does say that she doesn't know where she was born. Like I said earlier, she does know that her parents are from Wano though. Now, what happens is the Whitebeard pirates get into a scuffle with the Navy, but Whitebeard's like, retreat for now, and Oden's like, why not? And that's when Whitebeard's like, listen, you know, that's the Navy. You know, he tells him about the Navy, he's like, listen, if we destroy them now, that's fine and dandy, you know, but they're gonna just get more, you know, we'll see them again, you know, constantly and stuff like that. That's when he also kind of somewhat goes into, you know, the fact about the world government a bit with Oden, and he's like, you know what, you're lucky that your country's free and stuff like that. So yeah. Now, 28 years ago, on Oden's second year of his journey, we see that him and Toki, mostly Toki, finally gave birth to Momonosuke. They try to come up with other names, but, you know, Oden calls him Momonosuke and stuff like that. Now, the interesting point is Izu, because now Oden has a bounty. He's like, maybe we should head back to Wano because, you know, for your family, this is not probably a good idea to do this, especially with a newborn child and, you know, wife, essentially. And essentially, Oden's like, nah, they'll be fine. It's whatever. You know, we come this far. Now we actually cut back to the Wano country, and we see in Wano that Sukiyaki is in critical condition. And obviously, it seems like he's gotten sick. Now he says he wants Oden to be the Shogun of Wano, but he says because Oden's gone at the moment, he says he needs to put a proxy or somebody in place, as I guess you can say an interim Shogun, in case anything happens to him, like he passes away. And he's like, I need somebody in place so they can run the country, so when he comes back, it can be a nice peaceful transfer of power, so when Oden comes back. And we see that the person that Sukiyaki instilled as the proxy is none other than himself, Kurozumi Orochi. And we're getting the little seeds of how Orochi got led to power. And we see Yasui make a mention because Sukiyaki's, he brings up a point. He's like, well, you see, Oden treated Orochi like, you know, a little brother. And Yasui's like, treated him like a brother? Whoa, what the hell? And it's a weird standpoint because we saw from that one episode when Oden was still in Wano earlier in the backstory, we saw that Oden didn't even like Orochi. And we even saw earlier that, you know, in the backstory that Orochi might have did something shady with the money. Maybe telling a little white lie and stuff like that. And even Orochi kind of gives a dirty look in the scene. And I'm like, okay, now we're starting to see how he came to be in power. Whenever Sukiyaki passes away, I guarantee you he became the interim person. And essentially, that's when he started his overarching rule. Eventually, Kaido will probably show up And that's when he eventually has complete control of the thing. And I'm guessing when Oden comes back, he's like, oh no, dude, you were gone for so long. You're not getting my seat as Shogun and stuff like that. So again, it seems like something's being set up, especially what's happening or what you see if you watch the next episode preview for One Piece. So very interesting. Again, now Whitebeard, he talks about naming division captains, and we see that he makes Oden the second division captain. Now, something interesting is, the only other second division captain in Whitebeard's crew was none other than Porcus D. Ace, which again, we all have known that title was vacant for a while. So now we know that Oden was the original person who was the second division captain till Ace showed up in the Whitebeard Pirates. Also, we see that the Whitebeard Pirates stop at this island, and we see a much younger Marshall D. Teach, aka Blackbeard, coming and joining the crew because he kind of begs Whitebeard. He's like, please let me join your crew and everything. And Whitebeard's like, all right, fine. So it is what it is. And it's hailed that, Blackbeard is an orphan. So now we see how Blackbeard got into Whitebeard's crew. Again, another interesting standpoint there. Now, the episode ends off on the Oro Jackson with Shanks, Buggy, a much younger Shanks and Buggy, and then Roger shows up. They're reading the newspaper, and it's talking about, obviously, Oden in the paper. And essentially, Roger ends off the episode saying, I really hope to meet this guy. And it seems the next episode, it seems like he is going to meet Oden, which is going to be very cool and impactful. So this episode was really good. We got some starting moments of how Orochi took over Wano, as well as how Momonosuke was born, where he was born. You see Blackbeard, and yeah, other than that, that's kind of all. So again, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's One Piece episode. And again, hopefully you guys are staying safe out there, wearing your mask, yada yada, washing your hands, Until then, guys, I will see you guys on the next video. Until then, guys, peace.